The rain had been falling for hours, a steady, soft patter that soaked the ground and turned the small paths near the village into slippery mud trails. The air smelled of wet earth and something else, something metallic and strange that she couldn't quite identify. She had always liked wandering after a storm. There was a quiet magic in the way the world seemed to hold its breath, waiting for the clouds to pass and for sunlight to return. But today felt different. Today, there was an unease she couldn't shake Dot. She had been exploring the outskirts of the old mining area for as long as she could remember. The tunnels there had long been abandoned, the entrances caved in or flooded by rainwater. Locals said it was dangerous, that no one should go near, but that had never stopped her curiosity. There was something about the unknown, something about the silent tunnels that called to her. And on this rainy afternoon, with the sky still gray and heavy, she felt a pull stronger than ever. Walking carefully along the edge of the flooded mine entrance, she noticed the water pooling at the tunnel mouth, dark and still, reflecting the dim light in ripples. She paused, feeling the chill seep through her jacket, her boots hulching in the mud. That's when she heard a low, rumbling sound, almost like the growl of some huge animal, but deeper, more resonant, echoing from far inside the tunnel. Her heart skipped a beat, and she froze. For a moment, she considered turning back. It could be an animal, maybe a wild dog or something bigger. The idea of venturing closer was frightening, yet a strange pull kept her rooted to the spot. There was something in that sound, something alive and aware, something that seemed to be waiting. She took a slow, careful step forward, then another. Her eyes scanned the darkness inside the tunnel. At first, she could see nothing but the faint shimmer of water reflecting the gray sky. Then, as her eyes adjusted, a shape emerged, something enormous. Something alive that it was unlike anything she had ever seen. At first, she thought it was some kind of statue or a trick of the light, but the subtle movement betrayed it. The creature was enormous, its body partially submerged in the water, wings folded tight against its sides. Its skin or scales shimmered in colors that seemed unreal, like a rainbow caught in shadow. Its eyes glowed faintly, amber and intelligent, watching her with an intensity that made her stomach churn. She wanted to step back, to run, but her legs refused to obey. She felt as if she had been rooted to the ground, caught between fear and fascination. The creature did not move aggressively. It did not roar or charge. It simply watched, and in that gaze, she felt something unexpected: curiosity, caution, maybe even recognition. The rain fell harder, splattering across the water in front of her, but the creature didn't flinch. She noticed its breathing now, slow and steady, the rise and fall of its massive chest beneath the wet scales. It was alive, undeniably alive, and entirely unlike anything known to humans. Her mind raced. What was it? How had it come here? And why was it here at all, in this flooded, forgotten tunnel? She stepped forward again, slower this time, her eyes never leaving the creature. It remained still, yet its gaze followed every movement she made. She crouched slightly to get a better look. The water around it lapped gently against the walls of the tunnel. The creature's wings were folded, but enormous, stretching far beyond what seemed possible for any living thing. Its tail lay coiled in the water, twitching occasionally as if it were balancing or guarding something beneath the surface. Despite the fear, she felt a strange connection. There was something almost sad in the creature's eyes, a loneliness she recognized all too well. It wasn't threatening her. It wasn't trying to attack. It was simply there, waiting, guarding, existing in a way that seemed both ancient and fragile. She noticed details she hadn't seen at first: the delicate ridges along its spine, the way its claws dug gently into the mud, the subtle hum of energy in the air around it. She had never seen anything move like this before, something so alive yet so controlled, so aware. Her hands shook slightly as she reached out, not toward it, but just as a gesture, as if acknowledging its presence. Then the reality hit her, crashing over her like the waves that had once flooded the tunnels in storm seasons long past. This was not an animal, not a myth, not a trick of the imagination. This was something alien, something beyond human understanding, guarding a place that humans had long forgotten. Tears sprang to her eyes, unbidden. She felt an overwhelming mix of emotions: fear, awe, sadness, wonder. The world she had always known, the village, the paths, the skies above, suddenly seemed smaller, simpler, pale in comparison to the reality before her. She cried quietly, the sound lost in the rhythm of the falling rain. Moved by the gravity of the moment, she wanted to call someone, to tell them, to share this incredible discovery. But the words would never capture it. No one would understand. And more than that, she realized the creature would not want attention. It was a guardian, a watcher, a protector of some secret she could barely comprehend. For a long time, she simply stood there, watching. The rain soaked her hair, dripped from her jacket, pooled at her feet. But she didn't move. She didn't breathe loudly. She simply observed, feeling the weight of the connection, the magnitude of what she had found. The creature shifted slightly, the movement sending small ripples across the water. Its head tilted, and for a moment she could have sworn it studied her with curiosity. Then it dipped its head back slightly, almost a bow, and returned to its stillness. She realized in that instant that she had witnessed something rare, something that might never occur again in a lifetime. The rain began to ease, turning into a soft drizzle. The sky lightened just enough for her to see more of the tunnel, the debris, the walls etched with old mining marks and scratches from long-forgotten tools. But her attention remained fixed on the creature. Its presence was magnetic, commanding yet gentle, terrifying yet awe-dash, inspiring that she wanted to linger, to stay forever and watch, but a chill ran through her bones, reminding her of the outside world, of the safety she would eventually need to return to. She took one last careful step closer, studying every detail: the texture of its scales, the movement of its tail, the way its wings folded with careful precision. Every detail screamed of intelligence, of life lived with purpose. And then, quietly, the realization sank in fully. This wasn't just a creature. This was something rare, something extraordinary, something she had never imagined existed outside of stories or dreams. The truth overwhelmed her. She could barely breathe through the tears that streaked her face. She didn't know what would happen next. She didn't know if she could ever tell anyone. All she knew was that she had seen something truly incredible, something that would change her forever. She cried, not just for the fear, not just for the wonder, but for the sheer beauty of what existed beyond the world she had always known. The creature remained, unmoving, as if it understood her emotions. And in that shared silence, she felt a bond, fragile yet profound. She had found something remarkable, something beyond imagination, and in her heart, she knew that this was only the beginning of a story she could barely begin to comprehend. The rain had finally slowed to a soft drizzle, leaving the tunnel's entrance glistening with tiny beads of water. She stayed where she was, still trembling from the encounter, her eyes fixed on the enormous creature. It hadn't moved, hadn't attacked, hadn't even made a sound beyond the low hum of its breathing. But somehow, even in that silence, she felt that it was aware of her, observing her every motion. She took a cautious step forward, her boots sinking slightly into the soft mud. Her curiosity outweighed her fear now, and she wanted to understand what she was seeing. The creature's scales shimmered as light from the overcast sky fell on them, shifting colors in a way that seemed almost magical. She had never seen anything like it in her life, not in books, not in videos, not in the wildest stories she had ever imagined. It was beautiful and terrifying at the same time. Her hand moved almost involuntarily toward the air, as if she could reach out and touch the being from a distance. She didn't know why she felt compelled to do this, why she felt a connection with something so otherworldly. It wasn't fear anymore. It was awe, a deep fascination she couldn't explain. The creature's glowing eyes followed her movement, and for a brief second, she thought she saw something like recognition in them. The tunnel smelled of whetstone and something else, something sharp and unfamiliar. She realized that this creature didn't belong here, not in the abandoned mining tunnels, not on this human planet at least. Yet here it was, calm and steady, almost regal in its presence. She crouched slightly to steady herself, the rain soaking her hair and jacket, but she didn't care. All that mattered was this being, this moment, and the questions swirling in her mind. Carefully, she whispered, her voice trembling slightly, "Are you hurt?" The sound of her own voice surprised her in the quiet, but the creature didn't move aggressively. Its head tilted slightly to one side, as if trying to understand. She took that as a sign, however small, that it was not hostile. She inched closer, her heart pounding in her chest. The water around its feet lapped gently against the tunnel walls, reflecting faint glimmers of its scales. She could see now how massive it truly was, the wings folded along its back, stretching far beyond what she had first noticed. The tail coiled and rippling, and the claws, strong and sharp, pressing into the mud without effort. Each detail spoke of a creature designed to survive in extremes, to protect or guard something valuable. Her mind raced as she considered what the creature might be guarding. Was there a hidden entrance further into the tunnel? Some secret humans had forgotten over the years? Her eyes scanned the dark depths, noticing faint markings on the stone walls, lines and symbols that seemed deliberate. Perhaps a warning or a message left behind. She took another step, closer this time, and the creature shifted slightly. A careful movement that didn't feel threatening. It was almost as if it was testing her intentions, trying to understand if she meant harm or simply wished to see. She stopped, holding her breath, and slowly lowered her hands. The creature's eyes remained on her, and she felt an unexpected calm wash over her fear. She realized then that the being was intelligent. This was not an animal reacting only on instinct. It was aware, thoughtful, and patient. Her heart ached with wonder. To see something so magnificent, so alive, was a gift she couldn't have imagined. And yet, it was lonely. She could feel it in the creature's eyes, a quiet sadness, as if it had been waiting for someone to understand it for a long time. A gust of wind blew through the tunnel entrance, carrying with it the smell of rain and mud. She shivered, but remained rooted in place, unable to pull her eyes away from the creature. She noticed the small ripples it made in the water as it shifted slightly, as though it was guarding something below the surface. The water was murky, hiding whatever might be there, and she felt a pang of curiosity mixed with dread. Carefully, she crouched lower, her eyes straining to see through the water. There was something beneath the creature, something it clearly wanted to protect. She couldn't make out exactly what it was, but the realization filled her with both awe and fear. Whatever it was, it must have been important enough for such a magnificent being to guard it so carefully. Her thoughts raced. Could this be an artifact? Something from another world? She remembered the old stories. The village elders sometimes whispered about strange sightings, mysterious creatures, unexplainable events. She had always dismissed them as myths. But now, standing here in front of the creature, she wondered if there had been truth in those tales all along. She wanted to touch the water, to get a closer look, but instinct told her to wait. The creature shifted its head slightly, and she froze, realizing that any sudden movement might be misinterpreted. Instead, she slowly lowered herself to the edge of the water, sitting on the muddy bank, letting herself simply observe. Minutes passed in silence, the rain easing further, the world around her quiet, except for the low hum of the creature's breathing and the occasional drip of water from the tunnel ceiling. She felt her fear melting away, replaced by fascination and a growing sense of empathy. This creature was not dangerous to her. It was simply here, existing, protecting, and waiting that her tears returned quietly. Not from fear this time, but from the overwhelming realization of what she was witnessing. She had stumbled upon something extraordinary, something beyond human comprehension. She felt honored and small, all at once. The weight of it pressed on her chest as she struggled to catch her breath, afraid to break the fragile moment of understanding that had formed between them. Slowly, carefully, she whispered again, her voice barely audible. "I won't hurt you. I just want to understand." The creature's eyes met hers, unwavering, and for a moment she felt a spark of connection, a bridge between human and alien intelligence. It was a silent acknowledgement, subtle but undeniable, that she was not a threat. She studied its wings, noticing the intricate patterns in the membranes, the way they folded so perfectly. She looked at the tail, coiled with such precision, the claws digging into the mud as if testing the ground. Each movement was deliberate, purposeful, and somehow elegant. She realized that this was not only a guardian, but a being of intelligence and beauty beyond her comprehension. Time seemed to stretch. She forgot the rain, forgot the cold, forgot the mud under her hands and feet. All that mattered was the creature, its stillness, and the unspoken understanding growing between them. She realized that this was a moment she would carry forever, a memory that would shape her in ways she could not yet understand. Finally, she leaned back slightly, letting herself breathe, letting herself absorb the magnitude of what she had seen. The creature remained still, unmoving, its eyes glowing faintly in the dim light. She felt a mix of relief and awe, gratitude and wonder. She had come seeking adventure, seeking curiosity, and she had found something far beyond her imagination, a being alive, intelligent, and magnificent, guarding something that humans had long forgotten. Her tears fell quietly, mingling with the remaining raindrops. She knew she could not rush this, could not try to understand everything at once. There would be time, perhaps to learn more, to uncover the secrets of the tunnel and the guardian within. For now, all she could do was watch, marvel, and honor the presence of this incredible creature that had changed her understanding of the world forever. The soft hum of its breathing, the gentle ripples of water, the faint shimmer of scales in the dim light, they all became a rhythm she felt in her chest. She realized that the creature was more than just a guardian of a tunnel. It was a reminder of the vastness of the universe, the mysteries waiting beyond human sight, and the fragile connection between beings who could understand one another even without words. And in that quiet, soaked tunnel, with the storm fading and a world outside dimly lit, she felt something she had never felt before: awareness of the extraordinary, and a deep, unspoken respect for a life so different from her own, yet capable of teaching her more about courage, patience, and beauty than any human encounter ever could. She stayed by the edge of the flooded tunnel for what felt like hours, though the light outside had begun to fade into a soft, dim gray. The creature remained still, its glowing eyes watching her silently, yet she could sense something different now. There was a calmness in its presence, almost like an invitation to understand, a quiet patience that allowed her to observe without fear. The initial shock and awe had softened into curiosity and wonder. Her mind wandered, trying to make sense of what she had seen. The creature's size, its scales that shimmered like oil on water, the glow in its eyes, they all seemed impossible. And yet, there it was, alive and breathing, guarding something in the depths of the tunnel. She realized slowly, almost painfully, that this was not just a being lost in a human world. It had a purpose, a reason for being there, and it was not something she could rush to uncover. She noticed again the way its tail moved gently through the water, as if stirring or testing the currents. The wings, massive even when folded, gave off an energy, a silent strength that seemed to radiate through the water and air around it. She wanted to get closer, to see what lay beneath the water that it protected so carefully, but something inside her told her to wait. This being had existed long before her, long before humans had come near these tunnels. It was patient, ancient, and aware. She could not disturb that balance. Slowly, she crouched lower, resting her hands on the wet mud in front of her. She could feel the vibration of its breathing in the air, a subtle energy that made her hair stand on end. Her eyes scanned the water, trying to catch glimpses of what the creature was guarding. There were hints of shapes beneath the murky water, faint outlines she could not yet identify. It was clear, however, that whatever lay beneath was valuable, important enough for a creature so powerful to stay here for perhaps years, unnoticed by anyone. Her heart pounded. The reality of what she had discovered pressed on her chest, making it hard to breathe. This was not a simple encounter with an animal. It was a meeting with something extraordinary, a being whose life was intertwined with the mystery of the tunnel. She whispered softly, almost to herself, "What are you guarding?" The creature's glowing eyes met hers, unblinking, and for a moment she felt as though it had heard her words. Even if it could not respond, she imagined the possibilities. Was it guarding an entrance to another world? A hidden treasure left by beings from beyond her understanding? Or perhaps something far stranger, something humans could never fully comprehend? Her mind raced with questions, but every answer she imagined felt inadequate compared to the reality before her. She realized slowly that she would not understand everything in one moment. This was bigger than her, bigger than any human mind could process. And yet she could feel a connection forming. It was not the kind of connection born from words or gestures, but something deeper, something primal. She was a human, and it was something else entirely. And yet, in the shared silence, in the mutual observation, they understood each other in a way that transcended species. It was a quiet acknowledgement, subtle and profound. The water around the creature lapped softly, disturbed only by small movements of its tail and claws. She noticed a faint shimmer beneath the surface, as if light from its scales reflected into the water and revealed shapes hidden beneath. Her curiosity pulled her closer, but she reminded herself to be cautious. This creature had not attacked her, but it had also not invited her into its world. Any sudden movement could change everything. She shifted slightly to sit more comfortably on the mud, letting her hands rest lightly in front of her. She could feel the cool dampness of the tunnel floor seeping through her jacket and pants, but she barely noticed. Her attention was entirely on the being before her, and the mystery it protected. She imagined what life must be like for it, guarding something in the dark tunnels for as long as it had existed. It must have seen humans before, or maybe it had lived entirely apart from them, unnoticed, waiting silently for something or someone to understand it. Her mind wandered to stories she had heard as a child, tales of creatures in hidden places, guardians of things humans were never meant to see. She had laughed at them then, but now she felt the weight of their truth pressing against her heart. This creature was one of those stories made real, something impossible, yet undeniably present. She could feel her own life expanding, her understanding of the world growing in ways she had never imagined. The creature shifted again, its massive head moving slowly, eyes glowing brighter for a moment. She noticed a faint ripple in the water near where its claws dug into the mud. She realized slowly that it was not just guarding something, but also adjusting the environment, keeping the water and the tunnel safe from harm. Its movements were deliberate, controlled, as if it had been doing this for centuries. She felt a shiver run through her spine, both from awe and from a growing understanding that she was witnessing something truly remarkable. Time passed in the quiet of the tunnel. The rain had stopped completely, leaving the air filled with the smell of wet stone and moss. Sunlight had begun to filter through the clouds, creating faint reflections on the water's surface. She could see more clearly now, though the shapes beneath the water were still murky. Whatever it was, the creature would not let her get too close. It was protective, patient, and unwavering. Her heart ached with a strange mixture of wonder and sadness. This being was magnificent, intelligent, and utterly alone. She wanted to reach out, to connect, to somehow communicate that she meant no harm. But she also knew that she could not rush it. Understanding would come slowly, in time, if at all. For now, all she could do was watch, observe, and respect its presence. As the minutes stretched into what felt like hours, she noticed small details she had missed before. The subtle way it shifted its weight, the careful positioning of its wings, the way its tail curled and uncurled. Every movement spoke of intelligence and purpose, of life lived with care and attention. She realized that she was in the presence of something far older and wiser than any human she had ever known. Her tears returned quietly, though this time they were not of fear. They were of awe, of gratitude, of understanding. She had stumbled upon a being that existed beyond human comprehension, a guardian of mysteries humans might never uncover. And yet, she felt privileged to witness it, to share this quiet moment, however brief. With something so extraordinary, she whispered again, barely audible, "I wish I could understand you." The creature's eyes met hers, glowing softly in the dim light. She felt something like acknowledgement, as if it recognized her sincerity, her curiosity, and her respect. It did not move closer, but it did not retreat. It simply remained, patient and watchful, guarding the tunnel and whatever lay beneath it. She leaned back slightly, letting herself breathe, letting herself absorb the magnitude of what she had seen. The tunnel, the water, the fading light, and the creature before her, all combined into a moment she knew she would carry forever. She could feel her life changing, not in a dramatic way, but in the quiet shift of understanding, of seeing that the world was far larger and more mysterious than she had ever imagined. The creature shifted again, and this time she noticed something different, a faint shimmer of movement beneath the water, near the place it seemed most protective of. It was subtle, almost imperceptible, but enough for her to sense that there was more to the tunnel than she had first realized. Whatever it was guarding, it mattered deeply, and she could feel that its presence was tied to the safety of something beyond her understanding. Her curiosity grew, but so did her respect. She realized that she could not force understanding, could not rush what the creature had been doing, for who knew how long. She had to be patient, to observe, to learn, if she was ever to glimpse the truth. And for now, that was enough. She sat quietly, feeling the cool, damp air on her skin, the faint tremor of the water beneath her hands, and the steady, glowing presence of the creature. In that moment, she understood something profound. This was not just a guardian of a tunnel or a secret. This was a guardian of a connection, a being that reminded her of the vastness of life, the depth of patience, and the power of silent understanding. And as she wiped the tears from her eyes, she felt a promise forming in her heart, a promise that she would not disturb, not rush, and not forget. She had found something extraordinary, something beyond the human world, and she would honor it by simply witnessing it, by simply being present in this moment, as small and fragile as she felt against the creature's immense presence. The sky darkened again, clouds gathering as if they hadn't finished pouring their rain yet. She noticed the water at the tunnel's entrance beginning to rise slowly, pushed by the runoff from the hillside above. A chill ran down her spine. She realized that the tunnel might become dangerous quickly if the rain returned in earnest. She shifted slightly, ready to retreat. But something held her in place, a mixture of awe, curiosity, and a growing understanding of the creature before her. The creature remained still, its glowing eyes fixed on the water, as if it were anticipating the change. She could see its muscles tense under the shimmering scales, the claws pressing harder into the muddy floor, the tail coiled tighter. It was no longer just a passive observer. It was preparing for something. She watched, frozen, as the sheer size and power of the being became more evident. Its presence alone seemed to hold the water at bay, and she felt a strange reassurance in that dot suddenly. A small section of debris from the upper tunnel shifted, sending a faint splash into the water. The creature's head turned sharply, wings flexing slightly, and she saw it move with sudden precision. It did not attack the debris, it simply positioned itself between her and the water, a silent guardian. Her heart raced as she realized just how protective it truly was. She had come seeking curiosity, but now she faced the undeniable reality of its purpose. It existed to protect, not just itself, but this tunnel, the water, and now her. The rain began again, heavier this time, drumming on the rocks and puddles with a steady force. She knew instinctively that the tunnel could flood faster than she could react. The creature's stance became more deliberate, wings spreading slightly, as if creating a barrier between the rising water and the safe areas of the tunnel. Its tail lashed gently through the water, guiding the flow, diverting debris away from her path. She could barely believe what she was seeing. This was not just a guardian, it was actively protecting life in the tunnel. And she was included in that silent protection. She crouched lower, feeling the mud squish beneath her fingers, trying to make herself as small and unthreatening as possible. Her mind raced with questions. How long had it been doing this? How many people had unknowingly been protected by this creature? Was it alone, or were there others like it hidden in the tunnels beyond? She dared not speak, fearing that even a whisper could break the fragile moment. Yet, she could not stop herself from marveling at the intelligence behind every movement. The water crept closer to where she sat, cold and murky, carrying small stones and debris along with it. She felt a surge of fear, but it was tempered by the creature's presence. It shifted again, using its massive body to create a barrier, pushing the water slightly away from her, with movements that seemed almost effortless despite its size. She had never felt such relief from a presence before, so powerful yet so calm. She realized that in some ways it was like the tunnel itself had taken form, a living extension of the earth and water it guarded. She dared to speak softly, voice trembling. "Are you protecting me?" The creature's eyes met hers, steady and unflinching. She thought she saw a slight nod of its head, subtle yet unmistakable. It did not speak in words, but the gesture conveyed something stronger: recognition, understanding, and a bond forming between human and guardian. Tears welled up in her eyes again, not from fear, but from the overwhelming feeling of connection and awe. The rain intensified, drumming against the rocks, sending small rivulets of water into the tunnel. She could see the surface beginning to churn as debris floated past, carried by the stronger currents. The creature moved again, this time more actively. Its wings shifted, creating gentle waves that pushed dangerous debris away. Its tail swept with purpose, guiding the water and keeping the flow manageable. She had never witnessed anything like this. It was not brute strength alone. It was intelligence, precision, and care all in one. She felt a sense of humility wash over her. Humans had always thought of themselves as the rulers of their world, the cleverest beings alive. Yet here was a creature that combined strength, patience, and intelligence in a way that made her realize just how small she really was. She wanted to stand, to move closer, but instinct told her to stay low, to respect its space, and to observe quietly. The creature's glowing eyes flicked toward her once more, and she understood without words that she had been included in its protection. She could move if she wanted, but it would guide the situation, ensuring safety for both herself and whatever it guarded in the depths of the tunnel. The water was rising faster now, reaching the edges of the tunnel walls, but she felt no panic. She trusted it implicitly, even though she barely understood its abilities. Suddenly, a larger piece of rock and mud slid down from the ceiling of the tunnel, threatening to crash into the water near her. The creature reacted instantly. Its massive body shifted, wings unfurling slightly as it positioned itself between the debris and her. The rock hit the water with a splash, but did not reach her. She gasped, feeling her heart pound, and tears streamed down her face. She realized in that moment just how real the danger was, just how much the creature had been protecting her without her even asking. The rain began to lessen again, though the tunnel was still wet and treacherous. She took a deep breath, feeling the weight of the moment settle on her. She understood something now that she had only sensed before. This creature was not just guarding the tunnel or the water or the objects beneath it. It was guarding life itself, including hers. Every movement, every adjustment, every shift in its posture was deliberate, calculated, and kind in its own way. She crouched, feeling the cool water at her boots, and whispered, almost to herself, "Thank you." The creature's eyes met hers again, glowing softly, and she felt that word reach it somehow. It remained still, but she sensed acknowledgement, a quiet acceptance of her presence and gratitude. She studied it again, noticing details she had not seen before. The scales along its neck and back shimmered in subtle patterns, colors changing with every movement. Its claws dug into the mud with precision, and its tail moved fluidly, guiding the water away from both her and itself. She realized that this being had been surviving, protecting, and perhaps even waiting for someone to witness it for a long time. Its patience was extraordinary, a quiet lesson she felt in her chest. Now time seemed to stretch in the tunnel, the storm outside fading, leaving a damp and quiet world. She could hear only the soft drip of water from the ceiling, the faint murmur of the flowing current, and the low hum of the creature's breathing. Her fear had faded entirely, replaced by awe and a growing sense of connection. She understood that what she had found was not just rare, it was unique. She had stumbled upon a being capable of remarkable intelligence, patience, and care, guarding something she could barely imagine. She leaned back slightly, allowing herself to absorb the weight of the moment. The tunnel, the water, the fading rain, and the presence of the creature all combined into an experience that would stay with her forever. She realized that she was witnessing something extraordinary, something that humans might never understand fully, but that she could honor simply by being present and recognizing its purpose. The creature shifted slightly once more, as if checking the safety of its surroundings. She noticed its wings stretch briefly, creating subtle ripples in the water that gently pushed debris away. Its tail moved fluidly, guiding currents and adjusting to the rising water. She marveled at the intelligence behind every movement, the care that went into every action, and the patience it showed despite the danger. Her tears fell quietly, though not from fear. They were tears of understanding, gratitude, and awe. She realized she had stumbled upon something that existed beyond human comprehension, yet it had chosen, in a way, to include her in its vigilance. She felt privileged and humbled, knowing that she had witnessed not just a creature, but a guardian, a protector, a being that balanced power with care. And in that quiet, rain-soaked tunnel, as the water settled and the storm outside eased, she understood something profound. This creature was not just a guardian of a tunnel. It was a guardian of connection, of life, and of understanding. It had shown her patience, protection, and intelligence in ways that no human could replicate. She stayed a little longer, watching, learning, and appreciating the being before her. She knew she would leave eventually, that the world outside called her back. But she also knew that this moment, this encounter, had changed her. She had seen something extraordinary, and it would remain with her forever, a reminder of the beauty, intelligence, and quiet power that existed in places humans rarely reached or understood. The tunnel was quieter now. The storm had passed, leaving only the soft drip of water from the ceiling and the gentle flow of the current. She remained crouched at the edge of the water, her eyes fixed on the creature, trying to understand it better. The fear she had felt earlier had completely faded, replaced by a deep curiosity and an awareness that she was witnessing something extraordinary, something no one else had ever seen. Slowly, she began to notice subtle movements in the water beneath the creature. Small ripples, glimmers of something metallic or glowing, hints of shapes she could not fully make out. Her heart raced. Whatever lay beneath was clearly what the creature had been guarding, and it must be important, more important than anything she had imagined. She felt a mixture of awe and fear. This was not just a being guarding a tunnel. It was protecting a secret, a mystery that humans had never known existed. She inched closer, keeping her movements slow and careful. She did not want to startle it, did not want to break the trust that had silently formed between them. Her eyes scanned the water, trying to see through the murky surface, and she caught faint flashes of something large, smooth, and otherworldly beneath. The shape seemed almost alive, yet still. It was difficult to tell where the creature ended, and the thing it guarded began. Her mind raced with possibilities. Could it be a relic from another world? A crystal of immense power? Or something organic, another life form, hidden from humans for centuries? Each thought made her both more excited and more nervous. She realized that the creature was not just protecting the tunnel for itself. It had a duty, a purpose beyond human understanding. And somehow, she had been allowed to witness it. She crouched even lower, resting her hands lightly on the mud, feeling the damp coolness seep into her skin. She whispered softly, almost to herself, "I won't touch it. I just want to understand." The creature's eyes met hers, glowing faintly, and she felt something almost like acknowledgement. It did not move closer or make any sound, but she sensed that it understood her words, or at least her intentions. Minutes passed, and her gaze stayed fixed on the water. She noticed more details about the creature. Now the way it shifted its weight, the subtle movement of its wings, the way its claws dug precisely into the mud. Every movement had a purpose. Every adjustment seemed to protect not only the thing beneath the water, but her as well. She realized that this was not just instinct. It was intelligence, awareness, and care all in one. Finally, she thought she could see more clearly. There was a faint glow beneath the water, something smooth and rounded, reflecting the dim light in a soft shimmer. Her heart leapt. Whatever it was extraordinary. She tried to imagine what it could be, but her mind kept returning to one simple truth. It was something humans were never meant to see. Something powerful, and the creature was its guardian. She felt tears prick her eyes again. Not from fear, but from wonder. She had stumbled upon something incredible, something that would change her understanding of the world forever. The creature's eyes followed her every movement, calm and steady, as if guiding her understanding without a single word. She realized she had been given a gift, an opportunity to witness something rare and precious, and she vowed to honor it by observing and respecting the creature and its charge. Her curiosity grew stronger, but so did her respect. She could see how carefully the creature moved, how it adjusted the flow of water, and positioned its body to shield the thing beneath. She realized that this was not a moment to rush or demand answers. Understanding would come slowly, in time, if it ever did. For now, all she could do was watch and absorb the experience. She leaned back slightly, her eyes never leaving the water. The glow beneath the surface became clearer in patches, shimmering as though alive, though she could not tell if it was moving or simply reflecting the light. She felt her chest tighten with a mixture of fear, awe, and excitement. She had never felt anything like this before. A combination of wonder and reverence for a being that was not human, yet capable of protecting something so profoundly important. The creature shifted again, wings moving gently to stir the water, sending small ripples that carried debris away from the glowing object beneath. She realized in that moment that every movement it made was deliberate, every action designed to guard and protect. Its intelligence was extraordinary, far beyond what she could have imagined, and she felt honored to witness it. Her mind wandered, thinking about what she could do. She wanted to understand the secret beneath the water, to touch it, to know it. But she knew instinctively that it was not her place. The creature's presence was a lesson in patience and respect. She realized that sometimes understanding was not about possession or control. It was about observation, empathy, and reverence. She whispered softly again, "I understand. I won't interfere." The creature's glowing eyes met hers once more, steady and unwavering. She felt a wave of gratitude and relief. She had been allowed to witness this moment, to see something humans were never meant to see, and she knew that this encounter would stay with her forever. Her tears fell quietly, mixing with the raindrops that still clung to her hair and jacket. She studied the water again, noticing more details about the shapes beneath. There were smooth curves, faint outlines, and areas that glimmered with a strange, unearthly light. She could sense the power, the life, and the importance of what lay beneath. And she realized that the creature was not just a guardian, it was a teacher, showing her the value of respect, patience, and observation. Time passed in quiet observation. The tunnel, the water, the fading rain, and the creature all became part of her awareness, a rhythm of presence and understanding that filled her with awe. She realized that this being, with its glowing eyes and shimmering scales, had existed for a long time, guarding something precious, and that she had been allowed to witness it for a brief moment. Her heart ached with a mix of emotions. She felt small, humbled by the creature's intelligence and dedication. She felt gratitude for being included in this secret world, and a sense of responsibility, knowing that what she had seen could not be shared lightly. And she felt wonder, an overwhelming amazement at the existence of life so extraordinary, so different, and yet so capable of care and protection. She whispered once more, softly, "Thank you." The creature's eyes met hers, glowing gently, and she felt the acknowledgement, the recognition of her understanding and respect. It did not move, but the stillness spoke volumes. She realized that some connections did not need words, that understanding could be silent, shared through presence and observation. Finally, she took a deep breath, allowing herself to absorb the moment fully. She could feel the cool dampness of the tunnel, the subtle vibrations of the water, and the quiet hum of the creature's breathing. It was a rhythm, a balance, a life lived with purpose and care, and she had been allowed to witness it. She felt privileged beyond words, humbled by the depth of the experience, and changed in ways she could not yet fully comprehend. As she watched, she understood something profound. The creature was not simply guarding a tunnel or an object. It was guarding life, knowledge, and understanding. It was a reminder of the vastness of existence, of the mysteries that lay beyond human comprehension, and of the value of patience, care, and silent connection. And in that quiet, glowing moment, she felt a bond form that was fragile yet unbreakable, a connection between human and guardian that transcended words. She knew that she had witnessed something extraordinary, something that would remain with her forever, shaping her understanding of the world, life, and the creatures that walked or flew among it. The tunnel was quiet now, the storm long gone. The air smelled of wet stone and earth, and tiny droplets clung to the walls, reflecting the faint light from the tunnel entrance. She remained crouched, taking in the calm after the rain, her eyes fixed on the creature. Its glowing eyes met hers steadily, and she felt a strange warmth, a sense of connection she had never felt with any being before. She knew she could not stay here forever. The outside world would call her back eventually, but for a moment, she let herself simply exist in the tunnel, sharing the space with this magnificent creature. She noticed how its wings shifted gently, how its tail moved with care, and how it positioned itself to keep both her and whatever it guarded beneath the water safe. Each movement was purposeful, deliberate, and kind. Slowly, she began to understand that this moment was not just about curiosity or discovery. It was about respect. She had been allowed to witness something extraordinary, something humans had never seen, and it was not hers to take or disrupt. She felt the weight of that responsibility pressing on her heart, but it did not feel heavy. It felt right, as if she had been taught a lesson that words could not capture. The water beneath the creature shimmered faintly, reflecting light in soft, glowing patches. She could make out shapes more clearly now, smooth and rounded, as though the object beneath the water had a presence of its own. She realized that the creature had devoted its life to guarding this secret, patiently and faithfully, through storms, floods, and the passing of countless days. Her chest tightened as she felt both awe and gratitude. She whispered softly, "I understand now. I won't disturb it." The creature's eyes glowed faintly brighter, and for a moment she thought she saw the slightest tilt of its head, a silent acknowledgement. There was no need for words between them. The trust, the understanding, and the respect were shared in silence, in presence, and in observation. The tunnel seemed to breathe with them, a quiet rhythm of water, stone, and life. She noticed details she had not before, the subtle ripple of its scales in the dim light, the delicate way its claws pressed into the mud, and the low hum of its breathing vibrating through the tunnel floor. She felt privileged to witness such intelligence, such patience, and such care. It was humbling, in a way humans rarely experienced. Minutes passed, stretching into what felt like hours. She remained still, her eyes tracing the shapes beneath the water, the gentle movement of the creature, and the patterns of light reflecting off its scales. She felt a bond growing stronger, not of ownership or control, but of understanding and respect. She realized that she had been changed, quietly, profoundly. By this encounter, she reached slowly for a small stone, holding it lightly in her hand, and let it fall into the water, far from the creature. The splash echoed softly, and she saw the ripple move across the surface, disturbing neither the guardian nor the hidden shapes beneath. It was a small gesture, almost symbolic, a way to mark her presence without intrusion. She felt a deep sense of satisfaction in that simple act, knowing she had acknowledged the creature's space without disturbing it. Time moved on, and she felt a pull to rise. She knew she had to leave, to return to the human world, and carry the memory of this encounter with her. But she lingered, letting her gaze meet the creature's one last time. Its eyes glowed steadily, unwavering, and she felt the silent message it conveyed, that the bond they shared, however brief, would remain, that her understanding and respect mattered, and that she was welcome, always. In this shared space of trust, slowly, carefully, she began to stand, brushing mud from her clothes, and feeling the cool air of the tunnel entrance on her face. The creature remained where it was, still and patient, as if granting her permission to leave. She felt a pang of sadness at the thought of parting, but it was tempered by gratitude. She had witnessed something no human had ever seen, and it would stay with her forever. As she stepped closer to the tunnel entrance, she looked back once more. The creature's wings shifted slightly, catching the faint light and creating a shimmer that seemed almost like a farewell gesture. She felt tears well in her eyes again, not from fear or sadness, but from the overwhelming sense of connection and awe. She had shared a moment with something extraordinary, something alive, intelligent, and beyond human comprehension. The outside world was beginning to glow with the soft light of the evening sun, painting the landscape in muted golds and grays. She took a deep breath of fresh air, feeling it fill her lungs with a sense of life and possibility. She realized that the world beyond the tunnel had not changed, but she had. She carried with her a new awareness of patience, intelligence, and care that existed in ways humans rarely recognized. She walked slowly away from the tunnel, pausing often to look back at the entrance. The creature remained, a silent guardian, its presence reassuring and steady. She felt a sense of peace, knowing that it would continue to protect what lay beneath the water, undisturbed and patient. The secret of the tunnel, the glowing shapes beneath the water, and the magnificent being that guarded it would remain safe. Her steps carried her further from the tunnel, but her mind stayed with it. She thought about the patience, the care, and the intelligence she had witnessed, realizing that humans could learn much from such creatures, if only they took the time to observe and respect. She felt a deep gratitude for being allowed to witness it, and she promised herself silently that she would never forget this moment. The sun dipped lower, casting long shadows across the wet landscape. She paused at the edge of the forest, looking back one final time. The tunnel entrance lay quiet, the water still reflecting faint glimmers, and the guardian remained patient and vigilant. She felt a lump in her throat, a mixture of awe, sadness, and profound respect. She had experienced something extraordinary, and she knew that it would shape her understanding of life and the world forever. As she walked away, the memory of the creature stayed with her. She could see its glowing eyes in her mind, feel the presence of its wings and tail, and sense the quiet hum of life that had filled the tunnel. She realized that some encounters did not need words to be meaningful, that understanding and respect could transcend species, language, and time. She paused again, taking a final breath of the cool evening air, feeling it fill her with energy, clarity, and awe. The world seemed larger now, filled with mysteries and guardians beyond human comprehension. And she knew that she had been part of one such story, one that would remain with her for the rest of her life, shaping the way she saw the world, life, and the connections that exist in silence and trust. With a final glance toward the tunnel, she continued walking, carrying the memory of the guardian, the secret it protected, and the profound lessons she had learned. Her heart felt full, her mind alive with wonder, and her spirit connected to something greater than herself. She had discovered a world hidden from human eyes, and in doing so, she had discovered a part of herself patient, observant, respectful, and capable of awe. She disappeared into the forest slowly, the tunnel fading behind her, yet never leaving her mind. She knew she would return someday, or at least carry the memory with her, a reminder that there are worlds beyond our own, guardians waiting silently, and mysteries that teach us lessons of patience, care, and understanding. And as the evening light softened, she felt at peace. She had witnessed something extraordinary, something no human had ever seen. She had learned the value of quiet connection, the power of respect, and the depth of wonder that exists in life, even in places hidden and forgotten. She would never forget the guardian, the tunnel, or the secret it protected. She would carry it with her always, a memory alive, shimmering like the water she had left behind.